Are you asking questions? Are you asking why? Are you paying attention? Do you see the lies? Are you going to get busy? They're terrified that you will. Yes, it's happening. You've lost their trust. Yes, sirree-ba. They're not going to be trusted anymore. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're situated on this great, big, beautiful blue globe floating through the void of Yah's creation. It is the 4th of September, 2025. It's a Thursday, and these are the WTF reports. Yeah, I'm Dave vonKleist. I'm here with the receipts, with the facts. And if those facts make you exclaim, WTF, well, then so be it. That's the whole point. Got to get to, I'm not trying to light a fire under your butt. I'm trying to strategically place explosives. Get up off of your seat. Get busy. Get involved. Get educated. Get informed. And then spread the word. Anyway, this broadcast is brought to you in part by the Wave Watch. As always, I implore you to do a little research into Rife technology, which is based on Tesla technology. Frequency is everything, and that's what the Wave Watch is all about. It's a Rife machine you wear on your wrist, and if you haven't checked it out, you really should. Find out why this thing is going all over the place. Anyway, go to our website, TheWTFReports.com, and check out the Wave Watch on our advertisers page, on our sponsors page. You'll be glad that you did. Anyway, okay, where do we start? I want to pick up where I left off yesterday. Of course, yesterday there was a big, important press conference on the steps of the nation's capital. Marjorie Taylor Greene was there. Thomas Massie was there. Oh, there was another, there was a Democrat there. I can't remember what his name is there. But they're joining hands. The two parties are joining hands over this issue, and well, they should. This has got nothing to do with red versus blue or Republicans versus Democrats or right versus left. I don't think there's anybody, I don't care what side of the aisle that you're on, anyone who can basically say it's okay for Jeffrey Epstein and all of his clients to do what they did to these women for years and years. Well, I got to tell you, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she is going to tear the roof off the sucker. I mentioned it yesterday. It's worth repeating because these women that have been victimized and they have been brutalized by the most powerful people on the planet, from all walks of life, whether they be in the private sector, the public sector, whether they be in government, or whether they be in business, whatever. In Hollywood, doesn't make any difference. It's got nothing to do with politics. And if you try to politicize it, you're making yourself out to be a fool. Anyway, the point is that these women are so terrified to step forward. They've been terrified for many years because they know doggone well these are the most powerful people in the planet, and they could sue them into oblivion, and they could even take them out, which is what happened to Virginia Giuffre. So they're terrified to come forward. This is why they all came together, and they had this press conference, and Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to take up the gauntlet here. She's going to go in front of Congress because the women can't basically come out and tell the names, like for the reasons I've just explained. But Marjorie Taylor Greene, I tell you, she has got bigger cajones than most of the members of Congress. But this is what she said. She said this yesterday, and it bears repeating. Listen to what she's going to do.
In Jeffrey Epstein's home and the places they went with him, they saw the most powerful people in the world in his pictures, and they saw him with those people. Can you imagine how terrifying it would be to name names like that? These are some of the richest, most powerful people in the world that could sue these women into poverty and homelessness. Yeah. It's a scary thing to name names, but I will tell you, I'm not afraid to name names. And so if they want to give me a list, I will walk in that Capitol on the House floor.
Yes.
And I'll say every damn name that abused these women. I can do that for them. And I'd be proud to do it. Now, another thing. This is not about politics. And this is a boiling point in American history where the American people, just like Roe just said, there's become two Americas. There's the America for the rich and the powerful and the elite, where they never face any struggles or problems. And then there's forgotten America that faces all the problems and deals with all the issues and never gets justice for being sexually assaulted and raped by a monster. It shouldn't exist anymore, and people are sick of it.
Yes, they are. They are absolutely sick of it. And everybody's been screaming, release the names, put out the list. And they say, well, we just put out all these thousands and thousands of pages of documents. Yeah, and they're all redacted. So why is it that they're not being divulged? Well, I mentioned this yesterday. To be quite honest, I think we can all agree that if these are the most powerful people on the planet in all different sectors, whether it be pharmaceutical companies or whether it be big energy companies or big agri companies or Hollywood or the media or what, these are the most powerful people on the planet. And if they get exposed and they get arrested and indicted, the entire structures would collapse. And that would not be an easy thing to go through. So I suppose it's got to be done incrementally. Like the Wicked Witch of the West said, these things have to be handled delicately. Yeah, I think that's right. So it's going to have to it's going to have to be a slow roll, I guess. I don't know. But we do know that all these women, they were being interviewed, and all of these women have basically said the same thing, and they said Trump didn't do it. All right. Okay. Yeah, I know Trump has a sordid past, and he was involved in some nasty stuff in the 80s and 90s. But when it came down to, dealing with, that's what happened at Mar-a-Lago back, was it in 2005? When there was an improper approach to one of the daughters of the guests there. Trump saw what was going on, and he threw everybody out. Okay, there's a line that he would not cross, and that was one of them. But anyway, I wanted to throw that out there. We're just going to have to see how this is going to develop. I can't wait. I can't wait for them to see Marjorie Taylor Greene on the halls of Congress naming names. Yeah, that's going to be real interesting. What will even be more interesting is if she's going to do this, will they actually carry it live? Will it be on television? Well, probably if it doesn't fit their agenda, if it doesn't fit their narrative, yeah, it'll be censored. It'll be censored, but it'll get out there. And speaking of their narrative, this is somewhat unrelated. I find it rather curious that last year during the campaigning that Trump was having, how many of those rallies did he do? I think it was 96. 96 rallies all over the country. None of them were carried on the mainstream networks. No, wait a minute. Yes, there was one. There was one that they covered live. Can you figure out which one that was? You have figured it out, haven't you? Yeah, that was in Butler, Pennsylvania on July 13th last year. That was the one rally that the networks were covering that live. That CNN, was covering that live. Isn't that interesting? You know what else is really interesting? Is that when they raided Mar-a-Lago, that was supposedly a secret. When you're going to raid somebody's house, you don't put it out there and let everybody know. But apparently they did, because CNN was there to cover the Mar-a-Lago raid live. Isn't that interesting? I'll tell you, folks, you can start thinking outside of the cage. But anyway, I just wanted to share a couple of those facts there, because yes, we are being gaslit, we're being lied to, we're being propagandized, we're being manipulated by the mainstream media. And they are all, of course, controlled by a certain group of people. And we're not going to get into that because you already know what group of people that is. Anyway, I just wanted to get that out there. I can't wait for Marjorie Taylor Greene to get up in front of Congress and start doing that. I can't wait. All right, now in the meantime, a lot of people are still screaming about what's going on over there in Israel and in Palestine. And yes, Anthony Aguilar, he and what's the other one? Yes, Captain Josephine Guilbeault, they were in Washington. Now, these are vets. These are military veterans, and they were arrested because they were having a Foreign Affairs Committee, and they stood up and they said, "You are funding genocide." They were screaming about it. And of course, the powers that be, they just don't want to talk about that. So what happened is that they got arrested. As a matter of fact, Eric Warsaw, by the way, Eric Warsaw is a poster. He posts a lot on social media, and he's been doing some real good posts. And let's face it, folks, you're not going to get the truth from, if you're going to your favorite news network, if you want to look at CNN or MSNBC or NBC or ABC or CBS or whatever, they've lost all credibility because people are posting the truth on social media, whether it be Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook. They're putting this stuff out there. And Eric Warsaw, he posted the following. And again, these are the two veterans, and I played several audio clips from Anthony Aguilar over the past several months because he's been over there. He's been over there, and he's seen what's been going on with these aid trucks that are coming in. They bring in food to the starving Palestinians, and the hoops that the Palestinians have to go through, and the traps, and then they get shot at. I mean, this is just insane. So he's been reporting on this stuff for a while, and that's why he and Josephine Guilbeault were in the halls of Congress. Well, not the halls of Congress. They were at the Foreign Affairs Committee, and here they got arrested. Here's what happened:
the arresting of two military war veterans, Captain Josephine Guilbeault and Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Aguilar.
They are complicit in the of babies.
Slaughter.
When the United States Congress comes after veterans, they will come after you.
Yep.
Every American sitting at home right now needs to realize that you are paying for a
genocide.
Rise up, America, rise up. It is time to take back this country from these corrupt politicians. It is time. It is beyond time. Thank you for your service.
This G-side has been going on for almost 2 years now, everybody. And on behalf of Blue State, rather than stopping a G-side, they would rather arrest our own military veterans. A foreign country has way too much control over us. And it's not only obvious, but now it's ridiculous. The arresting of two military...
Yes, it is ridiculous. It absolutely is. And the simple fact that you've got veterans out there screaming to you, to me, to all of America, you've got to rise up. You've got to. Remember, silence is consent. And your silence on this issue just lets them do what they want to do. They figure that if you're not going to say anything, it's okay to do it. And unfortunately, most of Americans got their heads stuck in the sand. And when your head's in the sand, your butt's exposed. And that's exactly what she was trying to, what Josephine Guilbeault was trying to warn us about. And that's, if we don't stand up, what's that song, You got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. And that's where we're at. But I got to tell you, 11 years ago, there's a guy, a Jewish American by the name of Mark Braverman. He made this statement 11 years ago. Listen to what he had to say.
To be a Jew after the ethnic cleansing of Palestine. I'm a Jew born in America in 1948. I go to Palestine, and I find out that we have driven out an entire population, and we're engaged in a process of ethnically cleansing an indigenous population, a beautiful, wonderful culture. The Jewish story of today is not the story of our suffering in the past, which gives us total innocence and the right to do whatever we want. Our story of today is the story of what we are doing to another people. Our story is the Nakba, what the Palestinians call the catastrophe, their Holocaust. And if we do not understand that this is our story, we are done for. Mm-hmm. And I tell you, Rabbi, that the day will come when we will be on our knees in contrition and beating our breasts in shame for what we have done, and may that day come speedily and in our times, as the Jewish prayer goes.
Yes, he's absolutely right. You know, because for the longest time, the Zionists have been screaming, the Holocaust, 6 million, the Holocaust, over and over and over again, beating it into our brains ever since we were young children. And now that whole narrative is taking a back seat to what's going on right now, because it's another Holocaust. Of course, you know, the Jays don't want to admit that because it didn't have anything to do with gas chambers and stuff like that. Well, guess what? That whole narrative is falling apart. That whole thing. As a matter of fact, Eric Warsaw pointed out some very interesting things that yours truly has also discussed on this broadcast numerous times. But he put it all together in regard to what went on in Auschwitz. Now, up to this point, now keep in mind, in many countries, it's illegal to even discuss this. You can't question the official story about the Holocaust. If you dare do that, you can get thrown into jail. But you know what? That's not stopping a lot of people now. They're starting to look at the facts and the realities. The numbers don't lie. A couple days ago, I was talking about this magic number, 6 million. 6 million, you know, during the Holocaust. From 1941 to 1945, that's 4 years. We were told that 6 million souls were gassed and incinerated. That's the official story. But when you do the math and you use common sense, I mean, that's 6 million over 4 years. That would be 2 million over 3 years. 6 million over 4 years, cut it in half. So that would be 3 million in 2 years, cut it in half. That's 1.5 million in 1 year. Now you divide it by 365 days in the year. That would mean that you'd have to gas and incinerate 4,100 plus every single day. How do you cremate 4,100 bodies a day? You can't. The numbers don't work. But that's not the only story that doesn't hold water. Again, here's Eric Warsaw going over a few facts about the Holocaust. Listen up.
Did 6 million J really perish during World War II German concentration camps? Or is that number just a little bit exaggerated? Let's look at the evidence. And let's start with gas chamber doors that did not lock.
Here we see the door to the Mauthausen gas chamber. It does not lock. It doesn't lock. The latches can be opened from the inside or the outside, as I am showing right here. You cannot lock somebody into this room. You cannot lock somebody out.
They couldn't lock them in. And some gas chamber doors were made with wooden doors. Wooden doors to gas chambers? Come on. And look at those gas chamber windows. Cheap thin glass windows on wooden frames to a gas chamber? Really? Come on, no one pushed that out to save their own lives? Look closely at all the gas chambers with wooden walls and glass windows too. It's not airtight. If they poured lots of poison gas inside it, it would also wipe out anyone standing outside, including all the German guards. Also, chemical analysis on all the walls of the gas chambers showed that no poison ever existed in them.
In the 1980s, American expert Fred Luchter, who builds gas chambers for American penal systems, took scrapings from the walls of the Auschwitz gas chamber for chemical analysis. He found no cyanide residue at all. The Auschwitz exhibit is a fake, pure and simple.
Now let's go into the soccer teams, the theater, and the sewing rooms that existed in the camps. All this is real footage during the war, not to mention the swimming pools. Why would they have soccer and swimming pools to the people they're about to exterminate? And those swimming pools still exist to this day. Here they are.
Finally, we have the Auschwitz swimming pool. Yes, that's right, swimming pool. A beautiful pool with a diving board and starters blocks for races. To their credit, the Auschwitz camp officials have not tried to remove this distraction. But if you want to see the pool, you need to know already that it exists, because you won't find it on the tour.
The impartial International Red Cross was allowed to inspect the camps during wartime to make sure that all prisoners were being treated well. Here's a report by them. November 1944, only months before liberation at Camp Auschwitz. The report states, no traces of installations of exterminating civilians. Period. Also, the old records of the Jewish population. Before World War II, about 15.7 million. After World War II, about 15.7 million again. So where is the 6 million missing number? real numbers of the 270,000 bodies that were found. All were documented, and they did autopsy reports on every single one of them. Conclusion, not a single person died of poison gas. Most common cause of death, typhus and starvation. When the Germans were losing, they ran away and abandoned the camps, had them locked without any food. It's sad. Many people passed away, but it was not 6 million. And of the 270,000, half of them weren't even Jays. They said they hid the bodies by cremating them, but some of the cremation smokestacks didn't even have any soot in them. How was that even possible? And one chimney's not even connected to the building. A lot of these things on display were created and built after World War II.
Right.
Manipulate evidence for propaganda and creating a false sense of sympathy. There is a reason why it is illegal to question the H cost or make it extremely taboo. Because as soon as you start scratching the surface and asking questions, the whole thing falls apart way too easily. Truth does not fear investigation. So go ahead and listen to evidence on both sides and you make your own decision.
That's right. Make your own decision. Think outside of the cage. I've been saying that, God, for 30 years now. And, let me see, Alan Duncan, he is a minister, the British minister, okay? He's basically saying, get out. Get out. Listen up.
Get out of Palestine. It's not your country. They've tried to threaten me, but I will not be bullied or silenced. This has gone on for too long. Money, improper influence, and the promotion of Israeli interests above our own have contributed to the destruction of the UK's independent foreign policy. It's taking Palestinian land over many decades, which is the origin of this problem. The principal message to Israel is, get out of Palestine, it's not your country.
That's right. And you know what? History is being written as we speak. Now, of course, all of our lives, we've been told over and over and over again that Adolf Hitler was the most evil man in history. He killed all these 6 million, there it is, over and over and over again. Well, guess what? I think that Bibi Netanyahu, Benjamin Milikowski, I think he will go down as the monster of this particular century. I really do. And I think there's a lot of people that would agree with that. As a matter of fact, it's really interesting because we've all been played, and I keep saying this over and over again, people hear it all the time, that, the Republicans and Democrats are two wings of the same bird. And, the J rights and the J lefts, they're playing this beautifully. Again, Eric Warsaw, bless your heart. You go, boy. He's putting out a lot of good information. This is a very good analogy as to how we are all being played for the benefit of that country over in the Middle East. Listen up.
Netanyahu is a right-wing J Zio supremacist, and what they do is evil. But don't be fooled and tricked into thinking that it is only right-wing J supremacy that's the problem. Left-wing J supremacy is what secretly helps and backs it. It's left-wing Js who own Hollywood and the media, who push those negative stereotypes on Muslims and everybody else. It's left-wing J supremacists who own our education system to brainwash everybody and silence and expel any Pally protesters. Anthony Blinken in most key positions in Joe Biden's White House, those were left-wing J supremacists. Right-wing is evil and will starve you and airstrike you. But the left-wing Jays help fund it and protect it, while lying to you and trying to brainwash you at the same time. Don't be fooled and tricked by this. It is not a left or right Jay problem. It's both of their sides. They're just trying to take over in two different ways. That's all that is. Mm-hmm. So we have to chase them out of both sides, the Democrats and the Republicans. Deny them platform, deny them party, deny them leverage of any sort. And we must all cooperate together, too. Our right-wing, left-wing, we have to unite and combine if we're ever going to defeat their left-wing, right-wing. See things clearly and work together. That's the only way we can win this.
That's absolutely right. And there's that old saying, guilt by association. Well, I'm sorry, but all of those folks that associate with that particular group, whether or not you're really one of those evil people, if you don't renounce your uncut and sever your ties with that one particular group, you're going to go down with them. That's sad, but it's true. And that's why people are saying, you got to stop. As a matter of fact, there was an Irish man who put out the following message to all the Zionists that are out there. Because if you stand for Zionism, and I've got plenty of audio clips. I mean, I've got Laura Loomer out there basically saying she is proud to be a Zionist. And I've got several clips, I played those last year, of Joe Biden saying I'm a Zionist and I'm proud to be a Zionist. A lot of people say I'm proud to be a Zionist. Well, guess what? Those words are going to come back and haunt you. Okay? Anyway, here's a message from a brave Irishman to all the Zionists that are out there.
A message to Zionism. No matter how many lives you slaughter and blood you shed, no matter how much land you destroy and steal, no matter how much propaganda you produce and lies you repeat, no matter how many politicians you buy and media you own, no matter how much money you beg for and technology you create, no matter how much you tell yourself, you will never find peace. You will never fill that void. For as long as you're a threat to life, life will be a threat to you.
Ooh.
You will never destroy the resistance. You will never escape truth. From the river to the sea, may it be worth it for you in the end.
May it be worth it for you in the end. Well, like I say, if you associate with this particular group of people, then you're going to go down with them. You're not going to win this. You've already lost, as a matter of fact. And it's just going to be playing out in slow motion. And now people are starting to see Zionists as today's Nazis.
Leaders of the Jewish community themselves wrote in their diaries that what the Israelis did in October 1948 was not very different from what the Nazis did in the Second World War. So within 9 months, half of Palestine's population was expelled, half of Palestine's villages were demolished, and most of the Palestinian towns were wiped out. The Israelis already in August 1948 began an operation that I call memoricide, in order to wipe out any residue and remnant of the Palestinian existence in Palestine. They built Jewish colonies and settlements over the destroyed Palestinian villages, quite often giving them a Hebrew name that resembled the Arab name of the village. Thus, Safaria became Tzipori, Lubia became Lavi, and so on. On other villages, the Israeli planted forests. The Israelis imported 10,000 pine trees from Europe to cover the Palestinian villages that were destroyed in the catastrophe of 48. I can tell you, as a second generation of European settler, that we don't do well in the climate of the Middle East, and the same happened to the pine trees of Israel. Many of them became very ill, and where they died, the old orchards and olive trees came back to claim their presence on the land that used to be Palestine.
Yeah. So, like I said, anybody who is associating or fighting with the Zionists, and that includes all you Zionist Christians out there, for some reason you've been brainwashed too, thanks to the Schofield Bible, written and funded by the same people who created Zionism. So a great awakening is occurring. And a lot of people, they don't like to be, you know how cranky people are when you wake them up? Yeah, well, they're going to be pretty damn cranky. They don't want to admit that they were wrong. Like Mark Twain said, it's always easier to fool people than it is to convince them that they've been fooled. And ego and pride play a huge part of it. Well, maybe it's time for people to start relishing the concept of being wrong once in a while. It's an opportunity for growth and to clear the air. Anyway, I'll be right back.
Get More Tank will save you money every month on gas. Get More Tank is a tablet with active ingredients that adds big mileage to every tank. Made in America, the Get More Tank formula is used by trucking companies and heavy industry. Now the Get More Tank formula is available to you. Get More Tank works in any gas or diesel engine, cleans your engine, lowers emissions, and you'll feel improved engine performance every time you step on the gas. Get More Tank works for cars, trucks, boats, motorcycles, four-wheelers, mowers, and blowers. Hey, if you got an engine, then Get More Tank. Contractors, electricians, plumbers, plumbers, painters, and lawn service companies, Get More Tank will save you money and extend the life of your engines. If you're an owner-operator running your big rig around the town or across the country, Get More Tank will save you money too. If you're a farmer, all of your equipment can use Get More Tank. A 5-pack on sale at GetMoreTank.com for just $22.22 plus shipping. Use the promo code REDPILL101 and get 10% off. Save your money, save your engine, save the earth at GetMoreTank.com. Get More Tank is EPA registered, doesn't void warranties, results vary.
And if you haven't tried the Get More Tank formula, I don't know what you're waiting for. This stuff is good stuff. This is a win-win situation. Yeah, it's $22.22. That's the price on it, but you get 10% off when you use the promo code REDPILL101. It'll kick in there. If you go to our website, TheWTFReports.com. Click on the sponsors page, and it'll take you right down there. You can click on the Get More Tank and see the website. You give you all the specifications and details on how and why this stuff works so well. And like I said, when you start using it, right off the bat, you will notice that your car or truck or whatever vehicle that you're driving in all of a sudden has more power. When you kick the pedal, it actually goes without hesitation. That's because when you first start using this cleans out all the gunk that's in your engine. Makes it run much more efficiently. Your fuel burns at a slightly lower temperature, which is good for the environment, and that's a plus. And your engine runs better, that's a plus. And after a few tanks, you start to see the improved mileage, and that's a big plus, especially if you're getting between 15 and 20% better mileage. That means in one purchase, you get 5 tablets, and if you're getting 20% better mileage, that means your 5th tank is free. You spend $20 and save, and that's one purchase, and you save a tank of gas. How much does it cost to fill up your tank now? This is a no-brainer. I don't know what you're waiting for. You got to try this stuff. Hey, give it a shot. If it doesn't work for you, fine. What did you lose? $20. Well, whoop-de-freaking-do. Give it a shot, folks. I'm telling you. Once you've tried it, your eyebrows will fade up into your hairline, and you'll go, eh? Yeah, it works. So go to our website, TheWTFReports.com, and Get More Tank. Okay, that said, we got about, 23 minutes before the top of the hour. I'm going to open the phone lines. You have anything that you want to mention, any topic you want to bring to the table, you're welcome to do so. 215-867-8255. All right, now I'm going to change gears a little bit. Up there in Massachusetts, Governor Healy, I don't know what she's thinking, but you want to find out why we've got such an immigrant problem. Well, my gosh, it's a no-brainer for them to come here, especially when you got a governor that's providing all of the following for these illegal immigrants. If this doesn't make your blood boil, I don't know what will.
Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey, who used to be the Attorney General when I lived there, she's handing out $30,000 in taxpayer cash and cash equivalents to each illegal migrant family in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, so they can pay for rent and buy furniture. Each family also gets $4,000 a month in cash equivalent, EBT, $500 a month for food. They get free health care. They get free cable. This is what I'm talking about when I describe these illegal migrant third world invaders consuming scarce American resources like human locusts. It's given to them. And by the way, this, of course, acts like a huge magnet for millions more of illegal migrants all over the world to invade America. And again, I don't blame them. If I were in their position, I would do the same thing. If I were living in a poverty-stricken, disease-ridden dump of a nation like India, and I had the means to escape with my wife and children to a place that was going to give me $30,000 and free housing and furniture and food and cash and health care, I would make the effort too. But that's not the point that I can understand why they want to do it. The point is it in America's interest to do this? And of course it's not.
Of course it's not. But this is going on all across the country. You know, I mean, it's not just the illegal immigrants that are getting a free handout. I mean, now with all the cuts being made, you know, from the Doge thing, the USAID cuts, and the cuts to the Social Security, all these people that were brought in over the Biden administration. I mean, we're talking millions of illegals were given Social Security cards. And along with that comes the benefits. And this is, people have had enough of this. And I don't blame them. Not at all. As a matter of fact, there's a guy that, what's his name? I got the clip here. Oh, yeah. Dallas Wicker. Okay, now he's been posting, but unfortunately, he's got a little potty mouth, so I haven't been playing any of his clips. However, Trish Reagan, she's got her own social media thing happening. She decided to say, well, this guy's opinion is worth editing, and so you can hear it. Okay, so, and this is all about all these people who were screaming bloody murder because all of a sudden their Section 8 housing is being canceled, or they're being given, 2 years notice to get their act together. And of course, their food stamps are being cut and all this other stuff. And they've been living off of the system to the point where they expect it. It's your responsibility to pay their bills and pay for their kids and pay for their health insurance and pay for that. God help you if you should say, hey, get off your lazy butt and get a job. These people feel that this is, it's their right. They think it's their right for you to work and pay taxes so that they can live for free and pop out babies. I mean, it's been going on for so long. Like I said, it becomes to be expected. It's sort of like when you're nice to somebody, when you're generous, after a while, they start to expect it. And when you stop being generous, then it makes you the bad guy. Well, guess what? It's not going to happen anymore. Here's Dallas Wicker. Listen to this.
This post is going viral, and I'll tell you, this guy's right.
So sick and tired of hearing about privilege. Privilege isn't being white. Privilege is living in government housing and calling people oppressors while they pay your bills. Get it? I'm done pretending that any of this bull makes sense. You want to talk about privilege? You want to talk about real privilege? Real privilege is wearing $200 sneakers when you haven't worked a day in your life. Privilege is walking around with $300 Beats headphones while you're living on food stamps, while you're on public assistance, and it's paid for by people who wake up and grind every day. Privilege is having the latest smartphone with unlimited data and having zero idea where the bill goes because somebody else is always picking up the tab. Privilege is being able to protest every little thing that offends you without worrying about calling in sick to work because you don't have a job. Privilege is being able to cheat, lie, fail over and over again in life and still get bailed out while people who play by the rules get punished. That's privilege. This isn't about race. This isn't about class. This is about accountability. We've got a culture that rewards victimhood and demonizes work ethic and responsibility. Meanwhile, the people holding everything together for the rest of society, they get taxed into the ground. Their businesses get choked by regulation, and they get personally vilified for speaking up and saying that this is full. You want to talk about privilege? Then start with the people who've never paid the price, but who also scream the loudest. Because they've never had to build anything. They've never had to defend anything. They've never had to carry any real weight. And the reason they get away with it, it's because we don't live in a society of strong men anymore. No. That's been dismantled on purpose over the last 50 years. Because a society of strong men would never put up with any of this bull. And that's exactly why they came after us first.
Pretty powerful. Thank you, Dallas J. Wicker, for speaking the truth.
Absolutely. And this is why, I'm saying, folks, you, listener, me, all of us, we've got to get involved, roll up our sleeves, and jump into the game. Nothing's going to change until you do. We've got to rediscover our patriotic American heritage, and then we've got to stand up and defend it. I've said for years and years and years, our founding fathers planted the seeds of liberty. And they left it to us, the posterity. That's you, that's me. They planted the garden. It's up to us to tend it. And it was Thomas Jefferson said the tree of liberty must occasionally be nourished with the blood of tyrants and patriots. Well, has that time come? I believe it has. I believe the time has come. It came a long time ago. And yours truly has been screaming about this for 3 decades now. But unfortunately, my voice and many of the other voices like mine have fallen on deaf ears because we're just conspiracy theorists. Yeah, no, you're an extremist. When I got involved with this whole thing back in 95 under the Clinton administration, I was labeled as a right-wing extremist. Yeah, while everybody was screaming about Monica Lewinsky and the cigar, That was the cover story. That was the salacious, juicy, that was such a scandalous topic. And everybody was going, yeah, look what Clinton did. Oh, and Monica Lewinsky, that was so dirty. And people love that stuff. They eat it up. And the powers that be know it. Because the real story that was going on behind the scenes was Chinagate. And people didn't know anything about Chinagate because they were focused on Monica Lewinsky. But that's because the Chinese were paying off the Clintons, campaign. They were throwing all kinds of money at the Clintons, which is illegal. But that, again, it doesn't make any difference because Monica Lewinsky. So, yeah, I was labeled as a right-wing extremist under the Clinton administration. Then Bush got in there, and I'm screaming about, plus I was screaming about the first Gulf War, so that made me a left-wing extremist. Okay? And then there was 9/11. I was going after George Bush Jr. and, the whole WMD and the 9/11 thing. Okay, well, then you're a left-wing extremist again. And then Obama gets in there, and I'm screaming about that. Okay, well, guess what? You're a right-wing extremist again. They don't stop. They got to just label you and try to disenfranchise you and call you every name in the book, especially that conspiracy theorist. Well, I tell you, I wear that as a badge of honor because we conspiracy theorists have been batting 1,000 for how many years now? But, of course, mainstream media, as long as they keep saying this and that, and the people who consume the intellectual fecal matter end up with stuff for brains. You know what I'm saying. Oh, man. Okay, well, let me see. We're talking about white privilege. We're talking about handouts to the illegal immigrants. And let me see. What other topics can we touch upon here? Let me see. What was this clip here? What's going on? Oh, what's going on in Germany? Oh, yeah, they're getting ready for their elections. And I think that the count just went up to 7. 7 of the candidates out there in the past 2 weeks have been, shall we say, they're not alive anymore. Isn't that interesting? And, of course, the trials that are going on up in the Netherlands right now, Jim Ferguson is one of the attorneys there. And the lead attorney, a couple of weeks before they were going to start these trials, he got raided. They put a bag over his head. They took him off to God knows where. Nobody knows where he is. This is the way they do it, folks. And when do we stand up? Gosh, I don't know. When's that going to happen? Golly, I don't know. And meanwhile, more information is coming out about the bioweapon. Yeah, do you remember Naomi Wolf? Talked about her many times. I've had many different audio clips from her. As a matter of fact, when I was doing the Power Hour with Joyce all those years ago, Naomi Wolf was a fairly regular guest on the program. Now she's right in the spotlight. Here's Naomi Wolf speaking at the EU. Wow, she's over there at the European Union trying to warn everybody about the bioweapon and who's behind it. Listen to Naomi Wolf.
It is a mass murder. And again, I say this deeply knowingly as a Jew, as the granddaughter of Rosa and Joseph Wolf and all of their lost brothers and sisters. This is the greatest crime against humanity in recorded history.
Yep. Just
numerically, because billions of people have been injected with this. So I will end by telling you why I believe it's a bioweapon and that it was deployed, in effect, to reduce Western populations and influence. Number one piece of evidence is research I did that found that in 2021, there's an SEC filing, the Securities and Exchange Commission in my country, which is BioNTech, which is the subsidiary of Pfizer that produced this mRNA injection. And it is a memorandum of understanding, meaning an agreement, a legal agreement, that shows a partnership between BioNTech, which we're told is a German company, but it's not a German company, it's a German-Chinese company, because the partnership is with the Chinese Communist Party.
That's interesting. So Pfizer's in bed with the Chinese. And let me see, Pfizer, let me see, which ethnic group are they associated with? Let me see, Mr. Bourla, yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, I remember what group he represents. And they have no desire for whiteness in Europe or the United States. So they want to basically get rid of a whole lot of people. Yeah. And China, hey, they wouldn't mind for the United States to be weakened. So I could understand why there could be such an unholy alliance. I'm just connecting dots and maybe, thinking. Okay? Hopefully you'll do the same. But as a matter of fact, Nick Holscher, he's been making the rounds, and his research is blowing people's minds. People are now realizing that this mRNA technology is destroying humanity. And again, I point this out, Naomi Wolf, who you just heard from, she's been doing the research into the effect of the spike protein on the female reproductive systems. And of course, the spike proteins are destroying the ability for women to have children. As a matter of fact, miscarriages are up 800%. I mean, this is just insane. And if you want to talk about population reduction, keep in mind that this is the globalist goal. They want to get rid of the majority of the population on this planet. We're just over 8 billion people now, and they believe that the population should be no more than 500 million people. So what are you going to do with 7.5 billion people? How do you get rid of them? How do you get them to vacate the premises? Well, yeah, there's always war. That's a very effective way of getting rid of a lot of people. And then there's ethnic cleansing. And, Palestine isn't the first time it's happened. Folks should research the Bolshevik Revolution. And the numbers aren't really clear, but they know that somewhere between 40 million and 60 million Christians were slaughtered. Okay, but the point is that the powers that be, they want to get rid of a huge amount of people. And what better way than do it with the hoax that you need to take this hokey-pokey thingy-dingy. And unfortunately, most people are just buying it. Some people are actually proud. Oh, yeah, I got my 6th booster. Oh, wow. Aren't you proud to be an American? Anyway, Nick Holscher is screaming from the rooftops about the mRNA technology. Here's what he had to offer.
This entire mRNA debacle will, and I am almost certain, not fully because that's impossible to be, but I'm almost certain this mRNA debacle will come to an end within a year at the very most, right? Because I say that because now here at the McCullough Foundation, we have about over five now manuscripts being prepared for publication that will blow the lid off of this disastrous campaign. And many of these have to do with direct evidence of genomic integration. These will be in a study format, right? This will be official, and that nobody can deny this anymore. And we also are collaborating with a group of individuals. We have planned a massive, absolutely massive legislative initiative to bring forth bills in over 15 states to restrict or ban these injections. And so none of this can be stopped, right? They can't keep rolling out deadly injections for people anymore. They can't keep harming people, disabling people, injecting 6-month-olds with this technology. It will come to an end.
Yes, and it has to come to an end. And by the way, I don't know if you heard, but the state of Florida now has banned all vaccines. All of them, all mandatory vaccines. And then that includes the childhood schedule. That's amazing. People are starting to find out. And as we speak, of course, Robert Kennedy Jr. is being grilled in the halls of Congress, and they're trying to take him down. And I'll be honest with you, I don't agree with, everything that he's doing. A couple things have made me go, what? However, he is going after all of these vaccine companies, and well, he should. Because they have a job to do, and they have neglected. You have to ask whose side are they on? Are they really here to help you? Are they really here? Is the CDC there to really stop disease? Or are they there to just simply control disease? Oh, that's an interesting concept. Why is the CDC, why don't they call it the Center for Disease Eradication or the Center for Disease Elimination? No, it's the Center for Disease Control. Oh, they want to control the disease. They don't want to get rid of it. No. Because if they got rid of it, they'd go out of business. The CDC is a vaccine company. They make money from vaccines. They don't want to get rid of the illnesses. They don't want to get rid of disease. They want to control it. Anyway, here's RFK earlier today basically talking about, the latest numbers from the CDC and how many Americans now have chronic diseases. This has all happened in the past 30 years, 40 years. Listen to this.
This morning, I got the latest numbers from CDC that 76.4% of Americans now have a chronic disease.
Wow.
This is stunning. When my uncle was president, it was 11%.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. Almost 3/4 of Americans have chronic disease. All kinds of diseases. And back when John F. Kennedy was president, it was only 11%. Okay, carry on, RFK.
1950, it was 3%. A is 76.4%. 8 out of 10 of our kids cannot qualify for military service. This is a national security issue. When my uncle was president, we spent zero on chronic disease. Today, we spend $1.3 trillion. It's the biggest cause. It's increasing. And all of the arguments that Republicans and Democrats have about single-payer, Obamacare, or with the various ways of allocate the health dollars, they're all like rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. If we don't end this chronic disease, we are the sickest country in the world. That's why we have to fire people at the CDC. They did not do their job. This was their job to keep us healthy.
Thank you,
and I need to fire some of those people to make sure this doesn't happen again.
Yeah, no wonder. No wonder you got to fire those people. And he says they're not doing their job. Oh, I disagree. And that they're doing exactly the job that they're there for doing, is to make money. Because you got to understand, folks, everything is corporatized. Everybody is involved in a corporation. And a corporation, this is important to understand, a corporation is legally obligated to make a profit at whatever cost. It's their job to watch out for their shareholders. So if there's a penny of profit to be made from killing your mother, then they'll kill their mother. It's as simple as that. There was a documentary, I guess about 20 years ago. I highly suggest it. It's about 2.5, 3 hours. It's a long documentary. It's called The Corporation. And it's all about the history of how incorporating became a thing and why corporations came to be. And of course, the United States, became a corporation in 1871. That's a whole nother discussion altogether. That's when we lost our organic constitution and we went into the new constitution. But anyway, that's a whole nother can of worms. But anyway, that's their job, is to make a profit. At whatever expense, human life, no, that's not money. They need money. And that's what the CDC and the FDA and the AMA and all the other alphabet health agencies are all about, because they're all corporations and they're all in business to make money. Anyway, we all know that. All right, we're flat out of time here. Oh my gosh, the music's just about to start. And so I'm going to remind you once again, if you're enjoying the broadcast, if you're listening on BitChute or YouTube or Rumble or whatever, please click like, click share, and subscribe, and word of mouth. That's the best way to get the word out, folks. If you're enjoying this broadcast, because I'm here with the audio receipts and I'm, trying to get the wheels turning up there in the cranium of everybody that listens, if you're enjoying the broadcast, please spread the word. Help us grow the listenership here, and hopefully, maybe we can pull this thing out of the fire and save this country. All right, that said, it's going to wrap it up. Oh, man, this week is just shooting by. So anyway, remember to visit our website, TheWTFReports.com and do business with our advertisers. That's how we keep the lights on. That said, we're flat out of time, so God bless you all. Stay safe, stay free, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Fight as you turn on the light. You won't